This is Heatsick, Steven Warwick, doing the Postcard from LA. It reminded me a little bit of Berlin in that there's a lot going on, but it's you don't necessarily notice it because it's spread out. So I guess you kind of have to stay there for a while and let things unfold. The Villa Aurora is where I was doing my residency for 3 months. That is the former residence of Leon and Martha Feuchtwanger, who were 2 German writers who had to flee during World War II. But it was this kind of German outpost for exiles. People like Brecht, Adorno, Heinrich Mann, etc. would be there. There's a restaurant called Café Gratitude. The drinks and food are characterized by names such as courageous, outrageous, gracious, humble. To order the food or drink of your choice, you have to prefix that with I am. I became quite fascinated with this. I made a cocktail of organic matcha green tea, chilled, and added to it some vodka. These notions of organic, rustic, healthy lifestyle signifiers, juxtaposing that with something very toxic which isn't necessarily at once visible. Another place that I went to in LA, partly with friends of mine suggesting it, to go to the Los Angeles Gun Club, which I think we all went to with the premise that if you go, I'll go. It was very surreal being there. It was actually quite calm. The dangerous part was that it felt somehow cozy or safe. I saw a couple on a date. That was really surreal. I mean, firing a gun it's something that you think about, but when you actually do it, it's totally different, I guess. It's very normal in a way. And this normalization of it is what is a bit bizarre or scary, I guess. Cars were a big factor of me being there, so it's even just the driving around kind of informed a massive part of my work and my time there. Yeah, so I would drive out to the Salton Sea or to the Joshua Tree, or I attempted to drive out to the Death Valley as well, which I wanted to go to, but I drove for nearly an hour in the middle of a desert and freaked out and turned around. I didn't know when the next petrol station was going to be, and it freaked me out. And I was on my own and the GPS didn't exist anymore. The Salton Sea is it's a man-made lake which was created when there was a river being channeled towards Los Angeles, and the aqueduct broke one night. It flooded from heavy rain, which was quite a rarity, I guess, and created this man-made lake, which around the middle of last century was akin to, say, Palm Springs. It became this kind of leisure resort for, say, like Brat Pack kind of actors and celebrities. But over the years or decades, there became a lot of pollution, and now it's actually too toxic to drink or to even really bathe in the water, although some people do. Close to this area, which I would kind of describe as like a post-hippie fallout of East Jesus and Slab City, I started wondering about the desert in relation to Silicon Valley, the Californian ideology. and how the Silicon Valley is this strange mix of desert, technocracy, nature, communities which form but then absorb a lot of the military techniques and tactics, say of LSD or cybernetic research, but these come together in an area which is sparse and away from a civilization. I mean, when you go out into the desert, you really notice something like Octavia Butler isn't really science fiction anymore, it's just kind of reality. And that's what I found most shocking, I guess. These are gated communities in the desert, complete disconnect. A friend of mine who teaches at CalArts was telling me that Tim Burton used to study at CalArts. CalArts is a liberal arts college just about an hour outside of LA, at the beginning of the desert. And it's essentially this liberal kind of arts college founded by Disney, which is kind of like an island around a very conservative Christian fundamental area, which it still is today. My friend was telling me that Edward Scissorhands is based upon that experience of Tim Burton's time in LA, which I thought was quite interesting. Los Angeles was kind of initially marketed as this waspy outpost in the West. They would kind of end up there and you would have this kind of Pacific wall and nowhere left to go from this kind of Wild West frontier. I think that's why noir kind of really exploded, this kind of like dread. Maybe people want a darkness because it's so almost too perfect there, I don't know.